Hi, I'm David. Welcome to my shop. This current project is some cherry bookshelves and a fireplace mantel, all built in, and we need some doors for them. And we're going to be building what's called a frame and panel door. And it looks like this. You've probably seen this. May even have some in your home. It consists of stiles, which are the vertical parts, and rails, which are the horizontal parts, and a panel in the middle. This happens to be a flat panel. Gives a nice, clean look. And this is a paint grade door, but we're going to be using cherry today. We're going to be using a set of router bits made by the Whiteside company. That's number 6001, and it's a 2-bit set, a cope joint, and a stick joint bit. So I've got the stick cut mounted in the router. This is the cope cut. You'll notice there's a bearing here, okay? You want to line your router fence up flush with this bearing, and that'll give you a 3/8 deep cut on this particular set. Some sets might give you a 1/2 inch cut, but this set will give you a 3/8 inch deep cut. So this cut that we've got mounted in here is going to cut the bead profile as well as the groove for the panel. A little bit about the setup here. Got a Veritas steel router tabletop. Got a heavy duty router mounted under there. I've got my fence lined up flush with that bearing. I've got the height adjusted. I've made my test cut so I know where I want to be at. I also have some feather boards here. And a feather board is just a piece of wood with some grooves cut in it that make flexible fingers. Okay, and these flexible fingers can put a lot of pressure on the wood but still allow it to pass by and hold it tight to the fence and tight to the router table. So I don't have to have my hands near the blades to keep it tight against it while it's passing the cutter. I can keep my hands back here and just push it through. So it gives us a lot of safety there, and keeps the wood from kicking back, and it gives us a nice consistent cut all the way past the cutter. So why don't we go ahead and make a cut. I've got my wood here, and I've got a push stick. Always have a push stick handy. Always have some glasses on, and I like to wear earplugs as well. So here is the cut that we've made, and we made it all along this whole board. Nice bead cut there, and I'm going to run several more pieces, and then we'll go through and cut out our parts, and then I'll change the router over for the cope cut, and we can cut the ends of all the rails, and then we'll be ready to start putting some doors together. Alright, so I've got all my pieces cut out. This is a rail. There's a profile that we ran before. So now we need to cut the cope cut on the end to form the tenon. And I've switched out the bit in the router table to cut the corresponding profile to this. So now it's time to cut that, and you might be wondering, how do we do that in a safe way to run this narrow part past a spinning bit like that? And to do that, we use a coping sled, and this is a homemade one. It's made from 3/8 MDF, and then I've mounted this backer block with a hold down clamp. So you put that up against your fence, you slide your part in upside down, fasten the clamp. Now it's going to hold that perfectly square to the router fence so I can run it through there. Now this bit is spinning counterclockwise, so when I rotate this around and I have the profile facing me, that bit's going to want to tear out and cause some splintering. So what I've done is taken a scrap from the same material and I fastened it here on the sled and I ran it through on edge like that. Now I can flip that around, fasten it down, put my piece in, and now I can run that through there and it's going to back that cut up. So as that blade is spinning and it wants to tear out here, this will be backing it up so that it can't tear out and give us a nice clean cut. So let's make some cuts. And here you can see is the cope cut, and it's going to fit right into the rail or to the stile. You can see it there. You can see this. There you go. See how that comes together? Real nice. So now I'll run the rest of the rails and then we'll be ready to do some assembly. I've cut all my stiles and rails. I've ran them all through the router. They're all profiled. I've cut out my panel to go in there, so I'm ready to start putting these babies together. Now, this groove is 3/8 deep, and I have these little neoprene balls called space balls. They're 1/4 inch in diameter. They fit right in these grooves, nice and snug. Come down about 4 inches from the top of the stile. And what these do is they hold that panel in there securely, but they let it expand and contract with the changes in the seasons. And that keeps your panel tight, keeps it from rattling, keeps solid panels from cracking. So I put about 4 inches in. I put it in both my stiles. And then also I'm going to put some in my rails. I'm just going to come in about 2 inches and put those in. Alright, so that's ready to go. Now I'm going to use Titebond 3 because it gives me a little more working time, and it also dries to a light brown color that matches the cherry really well and helps hide that glue line even better. And I like to use a brush to put it on. And I also like to stay about 3/4 inches back from the bead here, the detail, because I don't want any squeeze out going out into that area because it's really hard to clean up. So I'm going to stay back about 3/4. I'm going to put glue on every surface of this joint. And then I like to take a brush and I like to spread it out, because there's not, this is kind of a small joint and it has to do a lot of work to hold this door together. So I like to spread the glue on with a brush so I know that I've got glue everywhere that I can get it, and I know the joint's going to be as strong as it can be. Slide that in there. Take my panel, set my panel in there. It's not going to go all the way in. The groove is 3/8 deep. I size the panel to go 1/4 inch into the groove, leaving an 1/8 inch for the space ball. That gives it a nice tight fit. When you put this on, it's going to stick out a little bit because those space balls are putting pressure on it, and that's okay. I'm going to lay it down, face down. I've got the back up toward me. Tighten this up. I'm just going to bring these joints flush with a mallet. Reposition this clamp so that I have about 1/4 to 3/8 of the corner showing, so I can hook my tape on there later to check for square. So that's down. Still like that. Good. And I'll tighten that one. Now we want to check it for square, so we're going to measure diagonally from one corner to the other. 28 and 1/16. 28 and 1/16. So that came out really well. Now some people at this point will pin these joints right here. They'll shoot a pin through the stile down into the tenon on this rail. And the idea behind that is that you can set this aside, glue up another door, set it aside, go back to your first one, take the clamps off, then the pins, hold it in place while it continues to cure. There are a lot of doors being put together that way that are still doing good today, but I prefer to leave it in the clamps for 30 minutes and then take it out, set aside to rest overnight before I start sanding on them. I found that it gives a really strong joint, especially in paint grade work where any kind of wood movement can show a black line in the joints. This really prevents that from happening and prevents callbacks and just gives it an overall really good quality product. So, all right, I've only got 4 more to do.